Good morning, YouTube. As always, hopefully you are all good and doing well. It is currently Monday, the 1st of June, 2026. Don't know why I say 2026. I feel like I'm looking very skinny. I had a shave the other day, looking very skinny in the face, and I'm certainly noticing that I am skinnier overall. But welcome to today's video, which is the very start of week 22 on the cut. Firstly, I can't believe that it's been 22 weeks of cutting, literally flown by. We're nearly halfway through the year, which is actually mental. And today is the first day. This is actually, I've now worked my 9 to 5 job for just over 3 months now. And this is probably the first Monday that I've woken up and I've not been absolutely knackered, because normally I find, say, Sunday evening into Monday morning is quite tough. But in today's video, I am going to show you through my Monday and show you through exactly what I do on the cut and around being in the 9 to 5 and the office to lose fat and ultimately look like I go to the gym as well. So I'm going to take you through my training. I'm going to show you my physique, how things are currently looking at this moment in time. In terms of weight, this last Monday, I actually woke up at 68.6 kilos off the back of being on the Isle of Wight for the weekend. But as of yesterday, I was 66.6 kilos. So I've literally just woken up. It's 5:30 in the morning. So not the best at speaking right now. And like with 2 kilos coming off, that's not because I was in like a huge deficit last week or anything like that. Just the weight was elevated off the back of eating differently that previous weekend. And then over the course of the week, sort of stress significantly dropped off towards the back end of the week. I felt much less like bloated, and just weight just really shot down, which was quite nice to see. At this moment in time in the cut, I'm not really too concerned about weight really at the moment. The main thing that I'm looking at is sort of like how I'm progressing visually, and I can see so much more is coming in, as I'm going to show you very shortly. So without any more waffling on, let's go to the gym and train push. This is one of my lengthier sessions of the week, so I need to get in there and get cracking with it. The push session is all done, and how I structure my sessions around the office is I always do certain sessions on certain days, because obviously I have the pre-existing structure to my week like you would. On Monday I do push, Tuesday I do pull, Wednesday's legs, Friday's upper, and then Saturday is legs again. But also how I sort of like specifically structure each session is the maximum amount of exercises that I do is 7 exercises, and that is on today. All the other sessions of the week are a maximum of, my pull session is 6 exercises and my leg session is 5 exercises. And the reason that I do this is because the last thing that you really want to be doing sort of like prior to the work day is just giving yourself tons of exercises to do and then doing every single one of them to poor quality, because like you're really rushing, say like your warm-up sets, you're just rushing into things. When you're doing your reps, you're actually rushing them, and you're going from like one exercise to another and just almost ticking the boxes as opposed to performing them with like any sort of real quality. Because like I find if you do that, you are also basically like clock watching the whole time. Like with me, I've got to leave the gym sort of like 7:30 or like 20 to 8, and I'm always sort of conscious of what the time is. And if you're doing too many exercises, you're more focused on like, right, have I got enough time to commute to the office than really the session, and like you obviously want to avoid that. So sort of like 9 times out of 10 I would typically say, for someone that's like been going to the gym for a little while, doing less but to a better standard is better than really just rushing through everything. And then with the actual sessions themselves, what I typically tend to do is I actually prefer to do my compounds after I've done a few different exercises, like that it's almost like isolation work. So for example, today, like I did like my side raises and my front raises, then I did shoulder press, which I didn't film, and then I did like chest flies, and then I did chest press. And then additionally, one thing that I also like to do is like any exercises that I don't really like doing towards the end of the sessions, because I don't really put much effort in, or like I don't really enjoy too much, I always put those at the start of my sessions. So I used to put, say, like calves at the end of my leg day. I'd always get to the end of it, be knackered and be like, I can't be asked to do calves, which is why that they're pretty much always covered over. And like with abs, I also would find that I would always skip those as well. So like on my push day, I always do those at the start. Some people like to do those on their pull day and stuff like that, but I just find I like to do it on my push day because I have 2 more days until I'm going to be sort of doing legs, and I don't really want my abs to be fatigued for legs. But that's how I structure my sessions. Off the back of the actual resistance session, I've gone and done 15 minutes on the elliptical, and I'm now getting my steps done as well, because with being like obviously in the office and being behind the desk for like 8 hours a day, the actual amount of steps that I do through the day isn't very many, so I've got to try and make as much effort to do them sort of around work as I can. But in terms of like this morning's look, so as mentioned, yesterday I was 66.6 kilos, which is by far the lightest that I've been as an adult man. And I actually think that I looked much better last Monday, even though my weight was higher, from having like a few more carbs and everything like that. Like today, I certainly felt leaner, but I also felt quite a lot flatter as well. I can actually really see, I don't think you'll really be able to see in the video, but I can really see that like on my left arm where I've got like a bit of a better bicep vein, there are much more veins appearing. Like my abs are certainly coming through a lot more. And then also when it comes to like my lower back and just my back in general, that is also looking much leaner as well, which is obviously nice to see. And like when you compare where I am now to where I was 22 weeks ago, once I came back from Thailand, and I'd like obviously been eating vastly differently, and I ended up gaining like 4 kilos in a month when I was in Thailand. Like considering that I've gone from that position to where I am now over the course of the last 22 weeks, I'm very, very happy with. And I would have really been done with this diet like a while ago if it wasn't for a case of me trying to push as much as possible and really trying to get sort of like as lean as I possibly can do. Like I probably could have called it a day and say like the start of May, end of April, I reckon. But I am certainly happy with how I'm looking, and the plan of action is to continue dieting throughout June just to get like these last little bits off and really get into the best position possible. And even though like I am hungry and it is a lot of effort and part of me is sort of there like, why am I doing this to myself? I am very much enjoying the process, and I'm also enjoying sort of like pushing myself as much as possible. But with all of that said and done, I'm just going to go and do a little bit of Duolingo. I've already replied to my clients. I've been slacking on Duolingo for the last week, and then I need to commute to work, get sorted for the work day, and then start administering some mortgages, and I'll catch you a little bit later on. Forgotten my mid-morning monster, and I literally got shit tons of emails to send, like 30. So I'm going to the Boss Man shop to go and get hopefully a green Ultra Paradise one, because that's my favourite flavour. And it's like gold dust at the moment. And then I've got to send a serious amount of emails and lock in. Gonna listen to Spotify while sending them, I think. Emails are literally like my least favourite thing in the whole wide world. It just feels like you do so many of them and you actually haven't got anything done. And then obviously you've got all your other tasks to do, so. Good evening YouTube. I have commuted home from work. I had a nice and productive day. I ended up doing all the emails that I needed to. I literally for like sort of 2.5 hours just smashed them all out and got all of those done. But as I say, it just took up like 2.5 hours just sending kind regards on repeat, and it literally doesn't feel like you've done anything, and obviously you have, but then I still have all my other work tasks to do. Overall, a relatively productive Monday. Came home, commuted home, and we've just been out for steps, me and his dog. And it was absolutely pissing it down. One positive about being bold is that it just hits your head and runs off, and you don't have to worry about your hair getting wet. I now need to meal prep for the next few days. So I'm going to be, my system with this is I typically will do my chicken mince, and then whilst my chicken mince is sort of like cooking off, I will then go and do my overnight oats. And obviously with around being in the office, if you haven't already, I've gone and created like a specific nutrition guide on how to sort of structure your meals, what your meals want to be looking like around the 9 to 5 to actually be losing fat and actually look like you go to the gym as well. Specific macros and everything like that within there as well. One thing that I mentioned is that it is going to be effort around the job. Obviously, like with meal prepping and putting effort in, you need to be making the time to make food and not just leaving it as like a last minute thing that you're just sort of grabbing like a meal deal or something like that. It literally takes me, say, like it's probably 20 minutes from start to finish to do this, and maybe like 30 minutes overall with doing the oats as well. But for the fact that it sorts me out for like the next 2 days at least, obviously just makes life so much easier. I have got a little helper today. Someone's doing my overnight oats for me. She literally knows exactly how many grams to do and everything, and exactly the process that I do for it. So she's the only person I would actually trust to do this. And she always does them. Erin always does them nicer than I would. Currently cooking my mince at the moment. That's going to save me a bit of a job. I think like after work, it always just feels like I've got such a like endless to-do list. It's actually crazy, like so many things to do. I don't really feel like my evenings I get to chill out. But I've just had dinner with Erin, and she had definitely had a much tastier dinner than I did. I'll show you what it is on the screen. It was literally just bits of tender stem broccoli and then like a burrito thing, I suppose. I feel like Mexican people would take offense to me saying that that's a burrito, but it's literally just chicken with some reduced fat, soft cheese, and then red onion, peppers, and also some sweet corn in there as well. And it's one of my like go-to meals that I sort of have on like rotation, and it's really, really nice. I also have some salsa with it and stuff. I'm ending today in terms of calories, I'm at like 1,926 calories, 190 grams of protein, 50-ish grams of fat, and then 175 grams worth of carbs. So pretty decent in terms of the macros. They're pretty much where I want them to be lying. Like at the moment, My calorie target is around about sort of like 1,926, I think it is. Protein's actually like 180, my carbs are also 180, and my fats are 54. But in terms of today, it's literally just been like another day of ticking the boxes. With being on the cut side of things, in terms of steps are all done now, nutrition was stuck to, and I just manage things obviously around work like normal. The only thing that I've got left to do today is I've got to come to the anabolic cupboard and I've got to weigh out my protein powder for the morning. I do this to sort of save myself as much time as possible in the morning. I've also got to have some creatine and cranberry juice in a second. And then I've got to weigh out my cream of rice as well. The reason this is the anabolic cupboard is because it just literally consists of protein powder, cream of rice and creatine. So I'm going to weigh out 50 grams of this, 40 grams of this, and then it's all ready for me in the morning. And right now, like as I'm making this, I am really missing the sort of like lean bulking days, because with my calories being like 1,920 at the moment, as I mentioned, when I was like prime lean bulk before going to Thailand, and I was actually like had decent composition and everything like that, I was actually around about sort of 10 kilos heavier than I am now. I was also eating like 3.5k calories a day, like without gaining sort of too much weight each week. And my plan, I'm just looking forward to when the diet side of things is all done. And my plan for say like post diet, like at the end of June, basically to go for sort of like a little bit more like recomposition. So my plan is to like increase my calories more towards say like maintenance. I think a lot of people like with reverse dieting tend to really long it out, and like a lot of coaches really have an obsession of like bringing clients up really slowly with their calories. And I always think that it's like no client realistically is sticking to that unless they are like extremely motivated and somehow have like ridiculous levels of like discipline. That is all weighed out now. So what my plan is basically like once the diet side of things is done, I'm just going to increase my calories straight away towards sort of like my rough maintenance, stay there for a couple weeks at least. And I'm actually thinking over like the course of summer to probably stay around sort of like my maintenance calories and just focus on improving training performance. Trying to get rid of a few niggles within sort of like my physique. Like I always have like a tight lat here. I'll try and sort of like sort that out a little bit. And my main aim of the game will be to sort of try and maintain say like vascularity, but with increasing just sort of like fullness and how full I feel. But as always, thank you very much for watching. I'm just gonna have my creatine for the day. I always like to have my creatine with cranberry juice, no sugar. And I will either put this like straight into my mouth and then just swallow it straight away, or like whisk it up into a drink. I think today, just because I can't be really bothered to get a glass, I'm gonna do it like this. Ah, that was rank. Oh, that was disgusting. Really powdery. Normally it goes down much easier than that. As I say, thank you very much for watching. If you've got any questions or anything like that, why I'm doing what I'm doing, macros or anything like that, please leave those in the comments. You can find me on Instagram via the link in the description. The first link that you'll get to will be the nutrition guide. So if you want to actually look like you go to the gym and you actually want to lose fat as well around being in the 9 to 5 and around the office, this guide will literally help you to do that, and it'll help you to sort your nutrition out so you know exactly what to focus on with every single meal. The structure, the macros, also navigating things in the office specifically in terms of say like snacks and everything like that everyone else is having. As I say, thank you for watching, and like and subscribe, and see you in the next episode of The Cut.